Dear liaison officer, dear friends, a very warm welcome to all of you to this first of 3 meetings dedicated to the new FIAP distinguished regulations. There is some noise behind. Can you close your microphones? Thank you. Now, still.
So Ricardo, I can close everybody's microphone, and then you have to open yours before you can speak.
Yeah, it's better. It's better.
Okay, so I'll do that now.
Yeah.
Okay, so you have to open again, Ricardo.
Yeah. Okay, I opened mine. It's
Perfect.
okay? It's okay?
Yes, perfect. You go
Okay,
ahead.
so each time that someone would like to speak, it must open his microphone. So, okay? So, after more than 10 years, FIAP has finally taken a much awaited and ambitious step forward. Not just a simple revision, but a deep and meaningful change to our regulation, driven by the evolution of international photography and our desire to remain at the front. The result is a set of regulations that are truly innovative and unique in the global photography competition landscape, marking a real turning point. More than ever, FIAP wants to foster creativity and originality among photographers. This is perfectly reflected in the introduction of the portfolio section, a completely new concept designed to give space and visibility to those artists eager to present themselves on the international stage with a coherent, mature bodies of work that fully express their photographic vision. This kind of a regulation has already been published and sent to all member countries. It's official and final. Our task through these 3 meetings is to make sure that each of you fully understands its spirit and the details, so that you can communicate it clearly and powerfully to all the photographers in our federations. I would also like to take this great opportunity to deeply thank our distinguished directors, Jeff Lemons, our patronage director, Roman Nero, and our Secretary General, Yanis Dikouris, without whom these regulations would never have to come to life. And of course, a heartfelt thank you to each of you and to everyone who took the time to send us their suggestions and the valuable feedback. I invite you now to follow the presentation slides carefully, ask questions, and share any doubts you may have. This is the right moment for any clarification. These slides will also be sent to you afterwards, so that you can translate them into your own language and distribute them properly at a national level. And now I'm happy to hand over the floor to the director of Jeff Lemons, but not before warmly thanking my friend Paul Stanley, director of the FIAP Photo Academy online events, for organizing today's meeting. Thank you, Paul. Thank you to all of you. And now, Jeff, the floor is yours.
So, Jeff, you will have to unmute yourself before we can hear you.
Jeff, open the microphone, please.
Okay, here I am.
Thank you.
Welcome, everyone. It's nice to meet you all. Most of you I know from the many mails I sent to you in the past, so I'm happy to meet you. It took some time to finish the roads, but finally here they are. I'm not so a fluent, clearly speaking man, so Romain will take over the presentation. So Romain, the word is for you. Thank you.
Thank you, Jeff. Thank you for these words. For those who do not know me yet, Romain Nero, Director of FIAP Patronage Service. I'm also FIAP Liaison Officer in Luxembourg and Vice President of the Luxembourgish Federation. So Liaison Officer from Luxembourg. So I also know a little bit about the rules. I started my FIAP journey with distinctions at the end of the 90s. And it was a pleasure to also give my input to the changes that will come. I first want to thank you for your patience, because we already presented the main ideas of the new distinctions in November on the Congress in India. There was a presentation that we didn't want to share because many things, not many things, but certain things changed. And in order not to have the wrong copies around, so we did not send any of this presentation. The presentation you will see now, of course, it will be available for you. It will be sent to you in the PowerPoint version. But above that, we have also created a cheat sheet for photographers that will be interesting for individual persons to have an insight, a kind of resume of what FIAP distinctions starting from 2026 are. I will start to share my screen now with a projection. And so, can you confirm, Paul, that the first slide is on?
No, it has not shared yet, Romain.
Not yet. Okay, so I will share now.
Yes.
Yes,
It's
it is
done.
now.
Okay, perfect. I have just something here which is disturbing my view. And okay, so let's go. I think that a very important part Ricardo explained. Here's perhaps the index of what we will see. We will go on into the FIAP distinctions regulations from 2026. This is FIAP document 47. We will go to the cheat sheet for photographers, and we will have also a section of frequently asked questions that has already been addressed to you, to us, and to which Jeff already responded. And we will also through these. So the first, we will have the approach about the traditional photographic FIAP distinctions you all know already, the new FIAP distinctions, which will be Novice eFIAP 428, the portfolio and the Grandmaster distinction. And then we go over to have a quick view on the traditional administrative distinctions and the new administrative distinctions. So before that, I just want to add again the most important part. Ricardo said already that it was time to change FIAP distinctions rules, because the landscape of photography has changed the last 10 years. There has been COVID, there has been online judging with this now on, there has been more salons, there has been more awards. So that made us change the regulations now for 2026. So let's start with the traditional photographic FIAP distinctions. And to most of you, this table will say something. It's about the acceptances, the countries, and the works that needs to be presented for FIAP distinction. We come back to the first distinction. This is one of the news, the Novice FIAP. So we come back to this afterwards. The first thing which is important to say is that this table is cumulative. That means having achieved 200 acceptances for eFIAP means that you just have 200 more for eFIAP bronze, for example. And the same for the number of countries and the same for the number of works. So first change that we have in the new rules is there will be no more break after the eFIAP. So there will be a continuous cumulative system with acceptances and awards from NFIAP to EFIAP Platinum. Then, starting with Diamond 1, applicants will use new photographs which had not yet been valorized for previous distinctions, and all previously received awards will be reset except for those awards obtained 1 year before having received the EFIAP Platinum. Those can be used unless they have already been used for the FIAP Platinum. This is to give the possibilities to people who have participated in a lot of salons with a lot of success, not to have awards which will not count. So this will, for 1 year, will be possible to make these awards count. What you also notice is that there will be no more requirements for print acceptances. And I just remind you that this was decided by referendum at the beginning of 2025. A little information is that applicants collecting acceptances and awards for their EFIAP Platinum distinction should only keep the awards relevant to their EFIAP Platinum distinction. Any awards obtained at least 1 year prior to EFIAP Platinum and not yet used should be preserved for meeting the requirements of the EFIAP Diamond 1 distinction. This is a hint we give. Let's say people can, when they start the FIAP distinctions, they can participate and not be worried that awards and acceptance points will not be counted for. But when they approach the limit between EFIAP Platinum and EFIAP Diamond 1, they should take more care of the counting of their awards. A very important change from 2026 on will be that a photo, a work, cannot have more than 10 acceptances, rewards, listed on the application form. Acceptances and awards for salons with patronage numbers earlier than 2026 can have more than 10 acceptances listed. Perhaps we take a little example for that. If a photograph has already had 9 acceptances before 2026, does that mean that it can still have 10 additional acceptances starting from 26 for a total of 19? Or if the photograph had already reached, for example, 15 acceptances before 26, can a further 10 still be counted under the new rule? So as we said, as of 1st January 26, once a photograph has reached the limit of 10 acceptances, no further acceptances or awards for that image can be counted, regardless of how many it had before that date. So if a photo had 9 acceptances before 26, it can still have 1, not 10 more. And if a photo had 15 acceptances before 26, it cannot have more. But the 15, as they have been achieved before 26, can be accounted for in 26 or later. For those who are judging salons on a regular basis, they know how important it is to include this rule in the future for FIAP distinctions, because we always see back the same pictures for years. And it will give a new wind to salons, to catalogs, to pictures that will be presented. So the next major change is for MFIAP. So now we will ask the minimum requirement for MFIAP will be EFIAP Platinum. Besides of this, no more restriction in the number of times people will apply for EFIAP will be requested, and the application process will go through a platform where pictures will be uploaded by the participant, of course, with the online approval of the FIAP liaison officer. So this is also, we want to get distinction also more to the myfiap.net site, where where, let's say, a more paperless process will be initiated, as you know it already, for over 10 years, which has been applied to FIAP patronage applications. So yes, for MFIAP, you can apply so many times as you like. There will be no restriction with applying after 3 times. You cannot apply anymore. I don't know how exactly were the rules before, but there was a limit of application. Okay, so let's go over to the new distinctions, and we immediately start with the novice FIAP distinction. It is a new distinction, easier to achieve for newcomers or photographers eager to enter the group of FIAP members bearer of a FIAP distinction. The application can be made as AFIAP and EFIAP in the same way with a form which will be checked by the FIAP liaison officer, so exactly the same procedure as in the old rules. We decided, as it is a new distinction and it is for beginners, not to charge it. So somebody who will apply for NFIAP can do this for free. And of course, we make an appeal to national federations. Please support FIAP in promoting this new distinction for newcomers and young photographers by not requesting a national fee. So, because we did not want for very successful photographers to make it mandatory to get through this novice FIAP to get the AFIAP, we leave it free to participants to either apply for NFIAP or to apply directly for AFIAP if their records match, of course. And of course, for AFIAP will not be free. There will be the normal fee. For the novice FIAP, we have just one condition, that the acceptance points will start from 2025. So events who have been held from 2025 on. So you see there will be a need for 25 acceptances in 5 countries, and having achieved that with 10 works. Then we extended the range of diamond level distinction of EFIAP. We extended it to 8 to give the possibility to the people who are stuck on the 3 to go on. So the third new distinction we created will make a shift from the well-known global acceptance and award hunts in FIAP salons to a more particular approach towards each individual photographers, the new FIAP portfolio distinctions. So in fact, in the first level for the portfolio distinction, the participant will present a portfolio of 10 images. And for the ongoing levels, there will always be one portfolio more to present. The application process will go through a FIAP platform where pictures will be uploaded by the participant. Of course, again, with the online approval of the FIAP liaison officer. During the year, there will be 3 reviewing sessions, and they will be limited to 15 applicants per country per session. Why? Because, of course, we need to first check how popular this distinction will become and not to be overwhelmed by many applications. We start this with making it a limit to 15 applicants per year. Now, of course, how the National Federation will manage this will be up to their decision. For us, the platform will close after 15 approved applications from the liaison officer. And then these 3 sessions, one will be in 15th of January, 15th of May, and then the next one. So of course, each one can reapply at one of these next dates. Of course, somebody eager to have these distinction, you must always participate in with different teams. Reviewers will, of course, have an insight in previously sent teams. So they will exactly know what the applicant provided before. They got his previous distinction before, so they can see what has given in before and decide if they are really different. So there will be 5 international portfolio reviewers who will do that. Of course, they will change. They will have minimum FIAP Platinum or MFIAP, and they must have an international judging experience of at least 30 FIAP certified events. Okay, last but not least, the last new distinction FIAP created was the Grandmaster FIAP. It will be automatically achieved when a participant has the same, he has achieved MFIAP and the Master Portfolio FIAP. It will be free of charge, and the applicant will be designated automatically Grandmaster FIAP when the 2 conditions of MFIAP and Master Portfolio FIAP will be achieved. Okay, let's remind you the traditional administrative distinctions that we had for many years now, and who will stay. Of course, the ES-FIAP, the distinction Excellence for Services Rendered. ES-FIAP is awarded to those persons who have given exceptional service over a long period at an international level for the benefit of FIAP. And then the ON-FIAP, with a distinction awarded by FIAP to individuals who have made exceptionally significant and long-lasting contributions to the development, promotion, and prestige of FIAP worldwide. So we added to these traditional administrative distinctions 2 new, very important, Life Achievement Award. So the initiative and the decision belongs exclusively to the FIAP board, and this award aims to honor all individuals who have distinguished themselves in an exceptional way for their constant dedication and persistent efforts, and who have devoted a significant part of their lives to FIAP and the overall development of artistic photography. Another title will be the Honorable Member. This honorary title is reserved for individuals who are not members of FIAP, but who have rendered outstanding services in significant support to the Federation. They may include government representatives, cultural promoters, renowned photographers, or other personalities who have contributed exceptionally to the development or visibility of FIAP's missions and values. So to close this presentation, I will go briefly through the cheat sheet for photographers we created, and where you can have an overview, where an interested photographer will have an overview of what he can achieve if he wants to become part of the FIAP distinction family. So on this first sheet, there will be links to who to contact. So sometimes we get messages, I'm John from a country, and I want to make an application. Who can I ask to do it? So of course, he needs to have the good intermediate, which is the FIAP liaison officer of the respective country. He needs to have his FIAP photographer number, and eventually he needs to have the link to upload his pictures if he wants to go for a portfolio FIAP. Of course, he will have a link to the FIAP, to the complete FIAP distinction regulations. And yeah, so I think this presentation is a good resume of what can be achieved in FIAP distinctions. The second of these cheat sheets goes briefly into the detail, reminding you that from 2026 on, just 10 acceptances or awards for picture will be accepted, and the provided 5 photographic words that every applicant must provide. So we put it here, the text a little bit in another way to make it more clear. Of course, we do not want to miss to promote our new portfolio distinction. So the pictures may be uploaded by the 15th of January, the 15th of May, or the 15th of October of each year. Of course, online approval is given by the FIAP liaison officer. 15 participant maximum per year. If now certain portfolios are not accepted and people will reapply, these participants who reapply will not be in the 15 participants that we limit, that we give the limit. Portfolios must have a theme. There is a list of examples that we have in the FIAP distinction regulations. They must not be the same and not be similar. Pictures used for successful MFIAP portfolios cannot be used. It's normal. But other pictures awarded in FIAP salons and used for distinctions, other than portfolio distinctions, of course, can be used. And so if a portfolio distinction is not accepted, the candidate may reapply for the specific team that was not approved during the next submission period. So if it was refused in 15th of January, he can reapply on the 15th of May. A minor supplementary fee will apply. After 1 year of refusal, the initial complete fee must be paid again. Very important thing, the date of the certificate will reflect the most recent closing date used to finalize the selection. That means somebody applying for the first distinction portfolio FIAP the 15th of January, the date on his certificate will be the 15th of January, and he can apply for the next distinction on the 15th of January of the next year. Here we have a list of questions and answers that have already been asked, and that we do not want to hide to other people, potential photographers who want to apply. Perhaps we can go through your questions first, and then we can eventually go through these questions here. Okay, so Ricardo, Jeff, Ioannis, and me, we are waiting for your question, information requests.
Maybe I don't know, Roman, if you want to read some of these. Maybe
okay, we can do it. If someone starts with a free NFIAP title, will he need to pay the distinction fee when applying for AFIAP the following year? Yes, of course, he will have to pay to go through the fee. Then is the counting of acceptances for EFIAP levels cumulative from AFIAP or NFIAP onwards, or does it restart at each level? The counting is, of course, cumulative. There is a note from Jeff. Applicants must transfer the data from page C of their approved EFIAP application into their most recent approved EFIAP level application, merging the records. They should then add only the new acceptances and awards. A fresh count is required only when applying for the diamond distinctions. Okay, the next example, we presented it already in the PowerPoint show. Yeah, a question that's always arising: are England, Scotland, Wales, and Northern Ireland considered one country or four separate countries? They are counted as four separate countries. This is due to the fact that these operational members, such as Malaysia Sabah and Malaysia Selangor, joined FIAP many years ago at a time when no official national operational member existed in their respective countries. Since then, and in accordance with the old statutes, they have retained their status as independent operational members. With a new rule, can an applicant submit for MFIAP 1 year after achieving EFIAP Platinum? And in case of refusal, how many times can we reapply? So yes, applicants can apply for MFIAP 1 year after obtaining EFIAP Platinum. In case of refusal, they may reapply after 1 year. There is no limit to the number of attempts. Is the table showing the requirements of cumulative? Okay, we talked about this. Okay, another important point, a question that can arise: does the open access to portfolio distinctions allow individuals to bypass their national federation by submitting applications directly? So in a country with an operational member, applications for portfolio distinctions have to be approved by the respective FIAP liaison officer. This must happen in the 10 days following the closing date. If no action is taken by the LO during these 10 days, the portfolio is automatically sent to FIAP. In case of a refusal, written justification must be provided. This will be reviewed by the FIAP board. In countries without an operational member, applicants can apply directly. Okay, regarding portfolios, will the diplomas and pins be sent to the organization that approved the application? And if the National Federation does not approve it, can an ILFIAP club handle the delivery on behalf of the individual? So for the first part of the question, yes, diplomas and pins of portfolio distinctions are sent to the operational member. ILFIAP clubs are not included in any part of the portfolio distinction process. Regulations clearly state that the federation must always provide a justification for any refusal. The FIAP board considers this justification insufficient. Further clarification will, of course, be requested directly from the operational member. It's a little bit the same procedure that we have when a refusal is given to an event for FIAP patronage. We will consult the operational member and see what is all about. Only in the exceptional case where the response is not satisfactory, the FIAP board may authorize the applicant to proceed independently. In such cases, the diploma would be sent directly to the individual author. A last page that we added, so we want to have as much as possible question and answers, to always have some information for people who are interested and who are want to have answers to their question. If the FIAP Blue Pin relevant when evaluating distinction applications, the FIAP Blue Pin is awarded to the best author of a salon, not for a specific photo, so it does not count towards distinctions in any way. Okay, from the 1st January 26 on, MFIAP applicants must have successfully applied for the EFIAP Platinum distinction for at least 1 year. Oh yeah, sorry. The price of the portfolio submission. What is the supplementary fee charged when the application reapplies for a specific theme that was not approved? So the price for the portrait portfolio FIAP will be 70 euros. The same for the portfolio level bronze. Then 80 euro for the silver, 90 euro for the gold, and for the master portfolio FIAP, 120 euro. The supplementary fee is defined on 30 euro. Then for distinction of categories A and B, will there be a new form and where can it be downloaded? Yes, there will be a new form. And I think it will be available from October on, perhaps earlier. But of course, it will just need to be used for the applications that start in 26.
So, Roman, there are some questions which have been put into the chat box, and if you like, I can call them out to you.
Yep.
The first one is from Howard. You partly answered it, but Howard is wondering, are the fees remain the same, and what are the portfolio fees?
Yes, the portfolio fees you see here, and the other fees, as far as I know, will be kept the same. Am I right, Jeff?
Yes, I think so.
Yes.
There's a decision of the board, of course.
Yep. It's not written there, but we can add them, of course. It will be interesting.
Okay. Jesus is also wondering, in the presentation, he sees countries, but he does not see the count of salons. So is a minimum number of salons no longer required? And then obviously, would that involve a change to the Excel file?
No, there is no required anymore for a number of salons. I try to create a rule that is less complicated, so I remove this part.
Okay, thank you, Jeff.
Thank you.
Nino was wondering, can a participant apply for a portfolio distinction and one of the traditional distinctions in the same period?
Yes.
Yes.
But
So they are distinctions which
two different
are to each other.
distinctions, so they can
Separate and
be sent at the
independent.
same time.
So the distinction, the portfolio distinction, are completely detached from the others.
Okay. And Marcel is wondering about the audio-visual distinctions. We haven't mentioned them. Have they changed or do they remain the same?
No, yeah.
This,
One by one, but I don't think they will change. I get maximum 5 applications for audio visual, so I don't think there is a reason.
They stay the same. So
Let's stay the same.
And Agnese is wondering, is it possible to add the database in each member's profile, not to count acceptances individually, but to get them digitally online?
We are working on this, but I hope it will be ready at the end of the year. But
So that means, Jeff, that people will be able to apply via using myfiap.net rather than having to email in the spreadsheet. Is that correct?
it's difficult to understand you.
Sorry, Jeff. So the question is, when the online application is available, it will happen using myfiap.net platform. And it means the person will complete and fill in all their information on that platform. The liaison officer will then approve it, and then it goes to you afterwards. Is that correct?
I think so, but Rebecca can answer this question.
So we are working on this, and we have, with the help of Digoas from India. He's also with us here. I say hello to him. We have already made big steps towards this, so it will be very easy to have the results of a lifetime. Let's say starting from 2012, not from a lifetime, to have the results. And we are just trying to get these links together. And yes, it will be, we are working on this to have it finished until the end of the year. That's why in the distinction regulation, when you see the text which is starting, it's our objective to go to that way. But there are many, how to say, many things to think about before making this possible. We share, it's an enormous amount of data that we have to handle here.
Yeah, more than 7 million records.
Yeah, and everything will be done will be done to make it easier for participants and easier for liaison officers to check. We are aware of the fact that we are living in 25, and I think IT should do the job for us, checking these things, and not a liaison officer with a pen, making ticks to images.
Okay, so there are some questions here in relation to the portfolio distinctions. Libby is wondering if the liaison officer will receive an email when a new portfolio application is made, so that they know that there's something there to be approved.
Yes, of course. So it will be the same way that it is for FIAP patronage regulation. So an email will be sent to the FIAP liaison officer, and he will, with this link, he will have access and will have the possibility to admit or refuse.
Okay.
If he refuses, he must, of course, give the reasons.
Again, in relation to portfolios, Norbert is wondering when will the upload for portfolios close if the 15 applicants is reached?
Yes.
So number 16 just will not be able to upload.
Yes. 16 cannot immediately reapply for the next edition, because I think that this week I will have a new meeting with the developer of this platform. So it will be a mess if we just keep them on hold in some way. So the best thing is to close and to open again.
Okay.
These are details we have to clarify. That's absolutely clear. But for the moment, the system will close and it will be open again probably after 10 or 12 days.
Okay. Bronwyn has some questions again in relation to the portfolio. So in one spot in the presentation, you indicated a limit of 15 portfolio applications per session, but at another time said the limit is 15 per year. So she's just wondering if you could clarify that, please.
No, it's 15 per session.
Per session. Okay.
So then I have to check. Thank you for pointing this out. So it's 15 per session.
Okay. And then also the certificates and the badges for the portfolio distinctions will be posted to the Federation. The Federation will then have to post them and pack them and send them to the applicant, which will cost, there will be a cost to the Federation for that. So can the Federation charge an administration fee to cover this?
I think in the distinction rule there is a paragraph talking about this. So I think yes. So we just want National Federation to go easy on the novice FIAP because there will be no charge from FIAP. And I think, of course, they will also have a cost with this, but it would be a good thing to have more people get interested. And yeah.
Okay. Nino also is wondering about, excuse me, she says, what about award requirements for each distinction?
What about?
The award requirements, so the number of awards that
Yep.
you need for each of the distinctions.
Yeah, on the
This one.
Yes.
Yep. So here we have the resume. Let's say we go for AFIAP and EFIAP. The text is saying at least 3 acceptances in 5 different countries, and the text means actually the 5 provided pictures must have achieved 3 acceptances in 5 different countries and must be mentioned on page A of the application form. Also, as a liaison officer of Luxembourg, I always need to read this 3 times. That's we added this text to make it a little bit easier to understand. Am I right, Jeff?
Yes. So there's only one award for each image and one different country for each different image. There is not 5 in 5 different countries, of course. It is only in one different country, every image.
Okay, some more questions. Milan, it says, if a salon under FIAP patronage also awards prizes from other federations, are these awards also counted towards the FIAP
Yes,
distinctions?
yes, of course.
Of course.
So an award is an award. It doesn't matter where it comes from, basically.
Yes.
Okay. Fazia is also asking about retroactivity. The acceptances awards received before 2026. Do you expect any legal questions for the next 10 in 2026 onwards?
Legal.
I'm not sure I understand the question either, to be perfectly honest.
I think this was a question to
Can you
Jan.
speak louder, Paul, because we have difficulty to hear you.
I mean that if somebody achieved, I don't know, 5 acceptances until 2026, the answer I read before is no, only next 5 acceptances you can have. Yeah, I was firstly I was understanding this as well, but then I was talking to some people. They said no, the new law comes on force from the 1st January 26. So it means at that time it was set 10. So I don't know. I'm not in legal circus, but I'm afraid that somebody will start to make problems with it. That's why I asked that Yanis would concentrate a little bit on this question.
We gave a period of transition because otherwise we cannot handle this. So we said that if you apply before 2026, all acceptances can count. If you apply after 2026, each picture can count only for 10 acceptances. So this is the period of transition.
Okay.
Let's add that, you know, the acceptances that you have achieved in 25 will all be valuable. So we will not go back. So if you apply in 2026, you can make a accountant for every acceptance you made. That's why we added this important phrase that that this is counting from 26 on. So people will know in advance that this will count from 26 on. They can valorize what they achieved before.
So they should take care only for acceptances awarded after the 1st January 2026.
Yeah. So we added this important thing. It was when we went through all the discussions. This is a very important point. Yeah, to make it interesting for everybody and not to run into eventual problems, as you say, Vasya.
Yeah, I'm just afraid of it. That's the point.
Okay, I made
yeah.
100 acceptances with a picture in 25. I can valorize these 100 acceptances in 26. But if it's a picture starting with salons with patronage number 2026, the limit will be 10.
So there will be no retroactivity, in my opinion.
No.
In my opinion, because as you saw in the presentation, we say that what counts is the salon number. So if the salon number is previous than 26, there is no problem. If the salon number is 26, then the problem starts.
Yeah. So no, I would not say the problem, but
Not the problem.
It's simply the rule change.
Differentiation.
So as we say here,
Exactly.
last paragraph, if a photo had 15 acceptances before 26, it cannot have more in 26, of course, because the 10 have been achieved, but the 15, as they have been achieved before 26, can be accounted for in 26.
Yeah, okay.
Yep.
Okay. I understand this, but I asked this because I was afraid.
No problem. I think there will be no problem there because now we publicize the rules and somebody starting with 26, he knows that he can just have 10 acceptances with it maximum. Okay.
Okay, moving on then. Again, some more questions here relating to portfolio. So Arne is wondering about the portfolio themes. Some are quite wide. For example, architecture. So can architecture be used only once, or are there many different variations in architecture?
I think I think if you make a series of pictures of building, black and white pictures of buildings, is one thing. When you go more into the macro of details of architecture, this is a complete other theme.
Well, we don't want similar photos, but
Yeah.
sure, if one is a wildlife photographer, we cannot ask him to send architecture or portrait.
Okay. Again, with portfolio, Howard is wondering, will the portfolio applicants pay the fee directly to FIAP, or does it go to the federations who then pay the fee to FIAP and charge back the applicant?
They pay directly to FIAP.
Okay, so that'll be using myfiap.net,
Yes.
as they do when they apply for a life card.
Yep.
Okay. Pierluigi has a question about portfolio distinction. For example, for the portfolio bronze, we say 10 images each in 2 teams. Must they be 2 new portfolios, or is it you're just adding one from the previous one?
No, 2 more.
No, they are not cumulative.
No, they must all be different.
So each one is different. So for your PFIAP, you have a portfolio with 10 images. For your PFIAP bronze, it's 2 new portfolios. So the one that you use for the PFIAP is finished and done with at that stage.
So in total, you should provide 15 portfolios.
From starting through all of those distinctions.
15, yes.
Yeah. Norbert is wondering, can the old list for eFIAP and, for example, eFIAP silver levels be merged? I'm not sure I understand the question fully, Norbert. Do you mean that, well, maybe could you unmute and explain what you mean, please?
I just want to know, you have the old level for the FIAP, and now you start in the old way with a new list for the levels, for example, bronze, silver, etc. And now you want to make the gold level, and you can merge both lists, the old list from the FIAP and now the actual list, for example, from the silver, to reach the total acceptances for the gold. Is this correct?
Together. You have to paste together the FIAP application, the approve it, together with the level application, and then you have one single list.
Yeah, but also the old acceptances from the old lists will count then to the yes. That's all what I wanted to know. Thanks.
Again, a question about portfolios from Libby. With the new portfolios and the requirements for the different teams, is it acceptable for someone to apply with the team birds feeding for the first award? And if successful, can they use the team birds fighting for the next distinction? I think we answered that question, which is yes, I think is the answer. Yeah. So Lewis then has some questions. So for those who are approaching Diamond in 2026, we should avoid any acceptances. I'm not too sure what you mean by that, Lewis, but you say, for example, if we submit our work and receive 10 acceptances but no awards, the 11th acceptance with an award will not be counted. Is that correct? I think my interpretation, having read the distinctions document, Lewis, is the limit is 10, but we're not saying which 10. So no more than 10 can be listed.
I don't understand. So.
Is that right? Then it's totally different.
You should avoid any acceptances. You can add all acceptances that are already on list on page 3. But you must avoid not to use any new that you can use for diamonds. Don't use them. Save them for diamonds.
Oh, in this case, that means, okay, we can, for example, we can still use one work to submit for exhibition and get 100 or 200 acceptance. But the thing is, for the distinction application, we just list 10, right?
No.
I think you are mixing everything.
No, the thing is, because for the diamond award, the requirement is only the award instead of any acceptance without award. So we just were, I talked to the photographer here. We just worry about if we submit the image and then get acceptance, but no award.
Yes, but everything what you have used is used. Whether there are hours of acceptances, they are used. So you may not
So
use them.
yeah, so we don't need to worry about the number. We can just keep sending the same image. Okay, as long as for the application, we only list 10, right?
Do you understand, Romain?
Not exactly. As you said, he's mixing up things.
Yes.
May I say, for diamond, I can say one picture 100 times until it will have 10 words. I can still continue sending it.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah. So the acceptances are not counted for diamonds.
No.
And
yes.
But for diamonds, the words are counted, and you are sending the same pictures, the same image, as long as you don't reach the number 10, except 10 words.
Yes.
Okay.
And
it's
then
clear.
you stop with
it. Okay, that's great.
Thank you, Louis.
Okay,
the word
thank you.
acceptances came too many times up with diamonds. That's what made the things a little bit weird to hear. Sorry for that.
Okay, some questions here from Bronwyn again. So first one, with the existing regulations as they are right now, it says that you must have been entering salons for at least 1 year before you apply for your first distinction. But has that now been dropped, or does that still apply?
Jeff?
Can you?
So the condition that you must have participated for 1 year.
Before FIAP.
Yeah. Yeah.
No, it doesn't exist anymore.
Yeah. Okay.
So,
okay. There's another very, very long point here from Bronwyn. As I read it, it might be just useful for Jeff and Roman to also look at the chat. It says that for every level, the works must be different to each other and not resemble or be similar to any other submitted as part of any previous application for other FIAP distinctions. I think everybody understands that.
Yeah.
But clause 111 is concerning for Bronwyn, and it's something she's raised previously. So, for example, if a person fails their application, then under the wording in these rules, the photos they submitted with that application are still retained by FIAP. Will there be a clearly stated position from FIAP that these images retained for a failed application can be sent again with a new application?
Yes, of course, they can send again. They are not used for this thing. They don't count for distinction, so they can use them again.
Okay. Monica is wondering, you mentioned that when starting Diamond, you have to start with new titles. She just wants to make sure that is correct, that she has understood that correctly.
It's written
Diamond
there.
works, it's new titles, it's new photographs.
Starting from FIAP Diamond 1, authors are obliged to use no photograph. It's written on the slide. The regulations.
So Jesus also says, is there a column in the Excel form where the liaison officer can see the number of acceptances and awards, so that in an easy way he can see if it exceeds 10?
No, I don't think so. I don't know whether it is possible, the count is. I will talk with Dichwas about this, but it seems to be very complicated to do this.
Yeah, I mean, I know myself as liaison officer, when I am checking distinction applications in Ireland, I can easily see how many are there just by looking at the form and manually scanning and counting.
But surely it doesn't matter if there's more than 10 acceptances on the FIAP database, as long as only 10 acceptances are listed on the form.
Correct.
Yeah, but only in the form.
Yeah.
The one that you don't use, don't count.
So Jeff, Roman, that's the end of the questions and comments that are in the chat facility, unless anybody wants to send in any more.
Okay, even if somebody has more questions after this meeting, he can send them to Jeff, and Jeff will share them with us, and we will complete our list of questions and answers with these questions and giving the appropriate answers. Of course, if they have a constructive, positive input into the understanding.
I've actually got a question. I was about to start typing it, but it's going to take too long to type. It's probably quicker to ask it. You know, I'm not particularly good at keeping things brief. I've got big concerns about the way we determine whether a photograph has been used before. Some applications across the years, and I mean, whether it be an AFIAP or an EFIAP, don't necessarily use them in a cumulative fashion. Some people use new images, don't reuse them, etc. So we can't say we must just check the EFIAP application or we must just check the Platinum application to ascertain whether a photo has been used before. I know that this was a concern I had when we had the previous version of the distinctions put to us a couple of years ago, that how do we determine logistically whether a photo has been used before, both as from a FIAP level, from an FLO level, and indeed the applicant who may well have long since thrown their previous applications or had their computer crashed or whatever because they never expected to have this requirement. And now we've got this effectively a retrospective requirement. What I suggested back at that time was that that requirement start as of a certain year such that a database could be formed of titles used. So, for instance, at the start of, say, 2025, from there on, there is an accumulation, there is a database formed for each applicant where it's just loaded from their application, every title they've used, and that database remains on file for use by anybody. In fact, ideally, it would be beautiful if it was even available to the applicant themselves on their MyFIAP platform, where it's just a list. This is the titles you've used from, say, January 2025, such that we're not trying to look back 5, 10, 15 years over applications from over 6 applications from their AFIAP onwards to determine if they have used any of those titles previously. Because if we've got that requirement there, we've got to be able to A, check it, and B, police it, and indeed be fair to the applicant that they themselves have the ability to comply with it knowing what titles they've used before. And the only way I can think of doing that is to make it apply as from a certain point in time where everybody then keeps a record of it. Everyone keeps a record of the titles. Is it possible to make that happen so that the logistics are there?
We can make records of a lot of things, but we cannot make records of everything. So we have the records of many. Of course, we do not have records of pictures handed in the 70s or in the 80s, or I don't know. So I think the author knows best what he has already. So the title is one thing and the picture is another thing. So authors, they know what pictures they have handed in already. I hope so. And for the rest, of course, this will be checked. And of course, perhaps some things cannot appear directly, but I think people should stick to the regulations and say, okay, well, do something new. I go on for diamond now. I use new pictures. We have a lot of data from 2012 on. We can have a look in other data from before on a more restricted way. But I'm sure that I can say that not everything can be recorded and now put into some. We also should have copies of pictures in that way, so to know this picture was used already. But I think this is, this is not feasible to keep pictures, copy of pictures, and the title that was related to the picture. We have the catalogs. We can make researches. But as for many regulations, we count on the common sense of people who apply, on their honesty, of course. And we will make as many records as it's possible for us to do, but it cannot be unlimited.
Yeah,
I would like to remember that until 2014, 2012, there was no real database in FIAP. And I still remember that in 2005, 2004, there was really nothing, just paper. So you can imagine, we try to do our best, but it's quite impossible to add everything in the new myfiap.net. That is, we will try to do our best.
Because otherwise the only way we can actually check if a person's used that title on a previous application is to go through every one of those past applications. And
yes, Bronwyn, we can now discuss very long on this in very detail, but you know as good as me that this is an evolving thing. And I think we should keep the rules as they are, count on the common sense, on the honesty of the people who will apply for it. And we cannot go too much into this.
Okay, I'm conscious that some more comments and questions have come in whilst Bronwyn and Roman and Jeff were speaking there. So Arna has sent in one. He says, results from previous so-called quarantine period between achieving enough for the EFIAP and the date on the EFIAP diploma can now be used. Is that understanding correct?
Yes.
Yes, says Jeff. Okay. And Marcus also says he's new to Brazil as the liaison officer. He understands that today really he only should be asking questions about the new regulations, but he has some specifically to what he's doing in Brazil, and he's wondering, can he send them directly to Jeff?
Yes, send them by email. That's the easiest way.
Okay, fair enough. Thank you, Jeff. That's it. No more questions or comments in the chat that I can see.
It was not clear to me before for FIAP to apply under old rules. Is still possible to do it or not? Because I know that the next meeting will be in January.
Yes, So for MFIAP, we would like to do it the same way as for portfolio FIAP, that people upload their images, of course, with the online approval of the FIAP liaison officers. So as we had already decided that MFIAP will not, and for portfolios will not be paper pictures, so it will be the same, in fact, the same procedure that for the portfolio FIAP. People upload their pictures and their application form. It gets checked by the FIAP liaison officers, and the judges will decide on the by judging them online.
No, maybe we misunderstood each other. I have a candidate right now who wants to apply for MFIAP, but
Okay.
he has not platin yet.
Okay.
Can he apply or not?
No.
No, but this year the rules are still valid.
This year he can.
This year he can, but the 1st February is already. I think it's the limit date is the 1st February, right?
Yeah.
And the 1st February is already over.
Yes, but I think if somebody applies before the end of the year, even if the deadline is on February.
Is there a second deadline for MFIAPs? I don't know, Jeff.
No, the 1st of February next year.
The next deadline for MFIAPs will be the 1st February 26 under the new rules.
Under the new rules.
That's the information I had. No, so.
But if he applies this year,
you cannot apply this year.
No,
I think if he applies here, he can still use the old rules. If he is able to apply till the end of the year.
If I understand right, Jeff, the closing date for MFIAP 25 was 1st of February.
Yes.
Okay.
Every year the 1st of February. Last year.
But this is the problem of FIAP's organization, not the problem of author.
Yes.
Yeah. That's true.
I think, I repeat my opinion, I think that if somebody is still able to apply before the end of the year, even if the deadline for FIAP is the 1st of February 2026, he can still use the old rules.
Yeah, I think I agree with you, Yanis. For this year, from the moment that there is this changement, I think that we must accept.
I've got some people, well, at least one person was a bit upset about having to have platinum, and they were hoping to be able to apply for MFIAP in this next round. So if I get their application in before the end of this year, will that be accepted?
For MFIAP?
Yes. And I need a definitive answer, because if I say yes, they can apply before the end of the year, and it will go into the next batch in 1st of February 2026. I need to be able to tell them a yes or a no.
So if I understand right, we will make a second deadline, exceptionally this year, at the end of the year for MFIAP.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Because I must say this the same, huh? I'm in the same situation as the state. Huh?
The sure that it must be the same for everybody, not for just one country.
Yeah.
So to be clear for Howard, the answer to the question is yes, that person can apply now, even though that person may not have the eFIAP Platinum. But that's only for this year. If they were to wait until 2027 or 2028, then they would have to have the Platinum distinction.
I would say yes. So if you will apply for 26,
No,
you need to have the Platinum. If he applies now at the end of the year, it's okay.
Yeah. So just to be clear, because I hear what Howard is saying, he has a person asking a specific question and he needs to be able to give a definitive answer. And I think that is the definitive answer now.
Yeah, we'll open a second section this year.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
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 There's another point here from Bronwyn. It's about the similar images. So she says, having had an applicant fail 1 year when they could not provide an alternative awarded photo to replace the one deemed too similar to a previously submitted photograph, and multiple other applicants required to swap photographs, a definition of what is deemed similar is essential.
The more, I think the more we define in these words, the more text we do, the more discussions will arise. For sure. Absolutely. 100%.
The only problem is, how do we advise people? As I say, I had an applicant fail. I've had photo applicants where, I'll give an example. I had a person who put in 2 photos. They were both from the sport of rugby. They were one was colour, one was black and white, not a big difference. One was a women's game and one was a men's game. The action on the ball was completely different. Those 2 photos were deemed too similar and they were required to swap one. I fully understand when we've got photos that are perhaps the same car in a street and it's just in 2 different spots in the street because they've been shot in consecutive shots, they're obviously too similar. But when we get photos shot, another one was a year apart, shot in the same location, totally different weather conditions and atmospheric conditions, very different photos, but because it was taken from the same view of the same things in the photo, it was deemed too similar, even though those 2 landscape photos were radically different. And like I say, the sports image, if we don't have some sort of criteria about what is deemed too similar, and I note that, not wishing to
in this particular example, Bronwyn, in this particular example you give now, how would you give a definition for this particular example you had? What would be the solution of a definition?
Well, PSA have actually come up with a way of defining too similar, and they talk about having to have 3 elements distinctly different, whether it be the lighting, the pose, or indeed the subject matter, and that they have to have 3 distinctly different aspects to them, like the composition's different, or as I've said, it requires something that just says, when a person looks at a photo, is this going to definitely be ruled out? Because I've had lots of people over years who have been required to change their photos to the point where I've looked at it and said, how can these 2 photos be deemed so similar that they've had to reject these? 2 boating images, completely different people in the boat, different boat, both boats in a sporting situation, but they're different photos, deemed too similar, and the person had to replace them. Now, for all but one of these people over the years, they've had an alternative photo they could put forward, remembering that the photos have to have received an award. But I had one year when a person lost their application fee, failed their application because they didn't have an alternative that they could put forward, and their 2 boating images were deemed too similar. So if we don't put out something that says, this at least must be the case, or you must not have 2 consecutive shots, or two photos in the same series showing the same composition, or something to that effect, we're not giving people a chance to comply with that and know that that their application is valid to go through. And indeed, I'm left with a position of saying, please send me the photos you're planning to submit. And I'm saying, okay, you've got 2 photos of polar bears here, completely different compositions, but they're both polar bear shots, similar to my 2 sporting shots. At what point do I say, don't put them both in? They're too similar to one another. But this is what I've been facing over recent years. I've had multiple instances of this, and I know in Britain they actually wrote an article in one of their newsletters on the same subject because they had, and showed a whole lot of examples that they'd had rejected on a similar sort of situation. We just need some sort of criteria that says how similar is going to be determined. Is 2 photographs, completely different photographs of rugby, for instance, deemed too similar because they're the same sport? Is two photos of the same person deemed too similar, even if they are completely different portraits taken in a different location, dressed differently? But being the same person, are they too similar? So it just needs something that clarifies this in some way, even if whether it's a definition. As I say, PSA came up with one for the, obviously having the same concerns, and I can't cite theirs because I've only seen it once, but it's something I would love to see, just so that it's absolutely clear for people.
Okay.
I also think this is very hard to define, but I have a similar problem, and it seems to be a two-tier problem. I have images rejected for being too similar in landscapes and in sport and everything, and yet I don't think they're similar. And yet in nature photographs, I think some images are so similar they'll be rejected, and in nature they get accepted.
Okay. It's clear. For me, it's clear. We must prepare something, friends.
Thank you.
I don't think it can be solved here, so yeah.
No, absolutely. Absolutely not. It's a dream to solve here, but I think that I agree with Rowan and Tate. We will try to prepare something as soon as possible.
Thank you.
Thank you.
There are some comments and questions that have come in, Roman and Jeff, about the portfolios. So Norbert is wondering, can the images from previous portfolios be shown to the judges so that they can make sure that we don't have similarity, that
Yeah.
the same, so that the judges will see the previous portfolios?
Mm-hmm. Each judging of each portfolio, the judges will have an insight. It's written also in the rules. They will have an insight in previously presented portfolios of the same author. So the platform that we are in the process of creating, each profile will have all the portfolios that have been presented and awarded before from this specific author.
Okay. Basia is also saying, can photographs already in the archive of FIAP be used in the portfolio? So images that have been submitted for the category A distinctions.
As far as they were not part of an FIAP portfolio, a successful FIAP portfolio, yes.
Okay, and then Basia is also wondering, what does approval from the liaison officer for a portfolio mean?
Well, there was a large discussion in India about this. So it means that the liaison officer is clicking, yes, this person can apply.
In myfiap.net, using myfiap.net.
Yeah, let's say we always talking from myfiap.net. It will be a FIAP platform.
Okay. Marcus is wondering, is there a forecast for when the automation of sending requests for distinctions will come into operation?
We would try to do it as fast as possible, but there are many hurdles to take, and we are into the working process of doing it.
Okay.
May I return back to my previous question about this approval of the license officer? Because the license officer has no right to say this collection is good or this collection is not good. This is a question of the jury. So this is not the reason that to refuse it. The reason to refuse is only if you say some technical problems you see there and you say, okay, please correct this and then I will proceed it. And another, which is most dangerous, that is that if the license officer is not in good relation with the applicant, if there is some personal reasons behind, and these personal reasons behind, you said, okay, if he does not respond after 10 days, the application will go to FIAP. But he can say also some bad words about the person, what means that the quarrels inside the federation become even stronger, and I think that we don't want to do this. Here, I think that we must make somehow this official on another way. To me, it's not good. You also remember from India how Sefa was reacting on this, and I think that he has some reasons for this, and I don't think that he's the only one. At the moment here in Slovenia, I don't have any problems, but before I become a liaison officer, we had.
Yeah, that's why we say that the refusal must be motivated. And so if you have some doubt, I think there is no other possibility. We do not want to penalize lots of other participants with the system. We were asked in the November Congress to put in this approval, so we did it. So an approval means saying yes, or refusal means saying no. If it's no, there is a motivation that can be discussed afterwards. That will block the applicant, but that will not block all the other applicants. So I think this is a good way to do it. And then the motivation must be discussed afterwards. But I don't see another way to go through this.
And in any case, I would like to add that we have ever spoken with the operational member to try to solve the problems. So if you reject some author, we will ask you why. We just by email, probably we contact you. We will try to understand why, and etc. etc.
I have the same situation with salons that do not get the approval of the operational member, and in most cases the justification is okay for us in 95% of the cases. We follow the advice of the liaison officer, of the operational member.
You can be sure 100% that for us, the operational member are the most important FIAP members. And we don't want to bypass you in any way.
Can give you an example, Vasia. For example, somebody is applying for M portfolio, and the liaison officer is going to refuse him because he does not know him. He's not a member of the federation, and he's no more a member of the federation. In this case, he's right to tick no.
And we can ask him, please, if you want, you can join your federation.
So
yeah,
that's why, Vasia, we say about the motivation. So we give the liaison officer the possibility to give a motivation that, it's just not to put yes, and in order to not to have this thing happening that somebody is against another person, that there is some personal issue that has nothing to do with FIAP. So that's why we need the motivation that we will discuss then afterwards, as we do with every refusal that is happening and that we discuss in the board.
You sure?
Okay.
You sure about this?
So that actually leads very nicely into the question that Libby has, which is what personal details will be available to the liaison officer when approving a portfolio application. So in other words, they need to ensure that the person who is applying is a member of their organization. So it's more than just, here's the person's name. I'm assuming.
Yeah. Well,
in the case of salons, we have the full details. So if we didn't know the person, we could go back to them and check. And the same would have to be the case with individuals, because they would have to be a member of one of our clubs in order to be eligible. So there's an extra tier there that we need to do checking. So we'd at least need the contact details and to know what sort of area they came from. So their postal address would be ideal. And presumably they're having to complete that for the FIAP Life card. So perhaps access the FIAP Life card details.
Yeah, I mean, that point has been made to me by other liaison officers as well, Roman and Jeff, that
Libby, are you?
it's no good just to say here's a person and the person is called Libby Smith, let's say, for example. There could be more than one Libby Smith in the federation.
Yeah.
I could be wrong, Libby, but I think as a liaison officer, you have access to the.
We only have them for the ones that have been approved through our distinctions. When they make a new application for a FIAP card, we don't see that detail. So I can't check the distinction numbers, for example, for somebody that's applying for a distinction until they've actually been approved, and then I'll see the details afterwards. Because Jeff was kind enough to give me details on somebody that had put a wrong number on in order to try and sort them out.
Okay.
So it would be really useful that liaison officers saw all the application cards for their country, and that would save work on the distinction side of things as well. An extra level we could check.
Okay.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
So I think I certainly come to the end here with all the questions and the comments that are in the chat facility, Roman and Jeff. So,
sorry, Paul. I would like to add another point. We spoke before that, for example, if a photographer apply for a portfolio, FIAP bronze portfolio distinctions, he must send 2 portfolios, okay? This is clear. But if one of these 2 portfolio is rejected, this means that he has the right to resubmit the rejected one until it's accepted. This is irrespective of the limit of the 15 photographers per nation and per session, meaning that the session could include 15 new candidates plus other resubmitting after rejection. This is clear to you or not? This is a question for all of you.
I think it's clear.
Okay, because I'm afraid that so it's easy not for the first level, but from the second, third, fourth level, all portfolios, the portfolio rejected can be represented by the authors.
There is
So
no limit. There's no limit.
this number of portfolios that the candidate must present are not cumulative, but there for first step you sent 1, for second step you sent 2, for third step you sent 3. That's it.
Yeah.
Yes, but we also said that the first section there is the limit of 15 photographers. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. For this, I'm not afraid for Slovenia, but yes.
We can have 15 photographers in the second session, plus the other rejected.
Yeah.
Okay. To represent. Okay, it's clear. Okay, just this.
Yes.
Okay.
How do we count these judgings? We will need the number of judgings for the some portfolios, for some distinctions.
Roman. Question exactly the question. There will be, three judgings. Yeah.
30 judgings.
Yes, of course. So there will be the first year, there will be one judging because everything will apply for the portfolio FIAP.
Yeah.
And then the second year, we will have more, yes. The successful portfolio FIAPs, when they decide to go on, they will apply for the next one. Yeah, it will be a certain amount of judgings, but as they are online, I think, and as the judges have plenty of time, I think, to judge. So we're talking about nearly 15 days, between 10, 12, 15 days. So it will be, and we can take several judging teams. So we are now in the process of contacting people. So we have already all the judges from 2013 on who judged FIAP salons. We know already the judges who have successfully judged 30 and more FIAP contests. And of course, we also go and who have the EFIAP Platinum or the MFIAP level. And of course, we will contact more to have a pool, an always evolving pool of judges we can ask to do this job.
Okay.
And we will maintain the judges for all the year long. So this means that the same judge will judge the 3 sessions in a year.
Yeah.
Well, friends, I think that is all for the moment. If you have other questions, we are here.
We are here, or you can send us an email at any time. Please send to Jeff. He will share with us.
You can close the PowerPoint presentation. Okay, appear again, everybody. So first of all, thank you very much for your presentation. This is very useful, I think, for everybody, for you, but also for us, because we learn a lot, and we will add some more points to our PowerPoint. So this is very, very, very important. So I hope that also the next 2 meetings will be like this.
Yes, thank you for your question. So it is very interesting. So I noted down at least 3 things I will now include in the presentation. So it is important to have this exchange and for us to note the remarks. And yes, this is a very important step. Thank you very much for your input.
I would like to remember to all of you that if you want, you have other 2 days time for participating in the FIAP photo meeting in China. Is still open there. And I really hope to see many of you in China, sure, in Yunnan and in Inner Mongolia. Then another very important point is the participation in the different World Cup for Clubs and biennials. We have also the biennials in Bahrain this year with the youth biennial. So please prepare your photos, send these photos to these different competitions. And we are working also in order to organize the next FIAP Congress in Salvador de Bahia. Probably the first 10 days of August of next year in Brazil. So as our Marcus is waiting for us in Brazil. Okay, thanks again, friends, and have a nice day or night.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, everybody.